All right, so this is just a quick little recap over 7-1. These are the problems that you should have submitted. I'm mainly checking for just completion and understanding, but this is just kind of a way to double check, make sure that you got the right answers on these 4 problems and that we're entering it into our calculator. That's really the main thing that we need to know how to do. Plug it into a calculator or into Desmos, whatever helps. So if we look at our problem, it says that we're going to be looking at the size of Toronto's Jewish population in the 20th century. So we have the years after 1900 and then our population. So we should recognize the years after 1900. That's going to be our L1, and then population here is going to be L2. So the first thing that we need to do is plug all of this into our calculator or Desmos, either way. So that's going to help us get number 7 right here because it wants us to find the model and then sketch the graph. So the graph doesn't have to be perfect, but like with any graph that we come across, we're going to go ahead and give this, label our sides, title, all that fun stuff. Title here, we're just going to have Toronto's Jewish population. Our X in this case is going to be the years after 1900. So I'm going to try to squeeze this in right here. So years after 1900. And then, of course, on the side, we're going to have population. So important thing here is being able to plug this into our calculator and getting to exactly that. So I'm going to show you how we do that. So the first thing, of course, is putting everything into L1 and L2. So assuming you've done that, we'll make sure that we get everything after that. All right, so here's everything in our calculator in L1 and L2. So from here, we're going to go to Stat, over to Calculate, and then Logistic. We're going to hit Enter. We have our L1, L2. We need to store this into Y1. So we're going to go, if you remember, that's going to be alpha, trace, Y1, and then we're going to come down to Calculate. So it's going to take it a second for everything to calculate, and there we go. So from here, it's just plugging in your ABC to get your function. So I'll do that in a second. Just to look at the graph, we're going to go to Zoom, and then Zoom Stat. So I'll come all the way down, hit there, hit Enter. So this is what needs to be on a graph, just something that looks like this. We have our plots and we have our curve there. So as long as we have that, we're good to go. So that's using your calculator on how to get the answer, or how to get the graph and the model for number 7. All right, so the function that we got from this, 484,925.02, and then that's going to be over 1 plus 28.32 e to the negative 0.0289. If you just did 29, that's fine there as well. If you remember, the graph kind of looks something similar to that. So something like that looks good enough, or is going to be good enough here. So here's your equation right here, or your function, and then we have it graphed there. So next 2 problems are pretty easy. Number 8 is just asking, do you think that this function provides a good fit for the data? I would say yes. So if you look back at your graph that we had, all of our dots or little squares, whatever they had, were right here by the line. So because of that, we can say that this is a good fit for the data. It's pretty close to the line that we had. If it was more scattered out, then it wouldn't be, but in this case it is. Then number 9 wants to know what's the limiting value of the size of the Jewish population in Toronto according to the model, and it wants to know how do we know. So this one's actually a very, very easy question. This is basically asking for the max. So based off this model, what's the maximum population that we can expect, or the Jewish population that we could expect in Toronto? Easiest way to get it, it's honestly just this. I'm going to highlight it here. It's right there. That top number right there is always going to be your max. In this case, I'm going to round down because obviously you can't have 0.02 of a person. That would be, we just can't have that. So in this case, I'm going to round down here. If you round it up, I mean, that's fine, not a huge deal, just somewhere in that area. But if you remember, Matt, who's been doing all the videos, he said that your max is always going to be your C value. So I'm going to put that right here. So the max is going to be your C value. And your C value in this case is always going to be your numerator. So last one is number 10, and this one was the probably the most difficult one of all of these. So number 10 wants to know what we can expect the Jewish population to be in the year 2021. Explain how we know. Now, one huge thing that we need to do before this problem is we need to notice that this is years after 1900. So when we're looking for our x, we're going to have to look at a table, scroll down, and find out where x is and figure out where the y is across from it. But we can't scroll down to 2021 because the x is talking about the x is after the years after 1900. So what we have to do is take this 2021. Might help if I don't write this in a highlighter here. So we're going to take 2021, subtract that from 1900. So 121, this is the x that we're going to look for. This isn't our final answer, but this is what we need to look for when we look at our calculator. So we need to zoom in on that, and whatever number's across from it, that's what we're going to look to do. So it helps if you have your this function right here stored into y1. If you have it stored already, it's pretty easy. Just click on the table, scroll through, find that, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. If not, then you need to get this into y1, and how you do that's like what I showed before, where you go click on logistics, alpha trace y1, that's what stores it there. So it's important to do that each time, especially in this next section that we're going to go to get into, because as you can tell, this is a tough equation to type in on your own. It's best if you already have that preloaded into y1. So we're going to look for x equals 121, and I'm about to pull up the calculator and show you how we can get that looking at our table. All right, so if we click on y1, there's our equation right here. It's got it preloaded in there for us. Like I said, it's best it's already loaded in there, not something that we have to type in. So getting to your table is pretty easy. We're going to click second table. There we go. So I've already done this before, so it already has in the location that we need. But we have our x over here, so it's going to start with x equals 0, 1, so on. So we're going to come all the way down. We're looking for this one right here. So x equals 121. So this number across from it is going to be your final answer. So as you see, it rounded up for us. So 261,417. That's going to be your final answer right here for number 6. And this right here is how you solve it, going and looking at the table there. So that's 7 through 10. So that's the end of 7-1. A lot of calculator work, as you probably noticed, and that's going to be a theme with the next two sections that we're going to look at. But this is how you do 7 through 10. If you had any questions on it, of course, you can email me, let me know. But from there, that's going to be all of 7-1 for us.